Hey everyone, it's Jung here for Hip Kit Club, and today I'm going to be sharing a couple of days from my December documented album. This is my cover page that I shared on the blog a couple of days ago, and I was just showing you that I changed up the word Christmas to suit the color scheme that I wanted to go with. And I always love pops of red, and so I heat embossed the Christmas with some glitter red embossing powder. On December 1st, my daughter had a Christmas concert with her school, and I want to respect the privacy of the other kids in the photo, so I'm just going to start with day 2. The story for day 2 is going to be our family hike. The weather was gorgeous, so we took advantage of it and we hit the trails. I cut out this number 2 from white cardstock 3 times using my Silhouette Cameo, and I'm gluing them together to create some dimension, just like chipboard. The number 2 is a free cut file from HipKit Club as part of their 12 Days of Giving. I believe it's called Scandinavian Numbers, and it's available on the HipKit Club website for you to download for free as long as you have an account. While the number 2 is drying, I'm looking for a card to back the number with. I'm looking through the exclusive 3x4 cards that were included in the 2018 December documented kit. The cards that I set aside to the left are just some that I cut out of the pattern paper that were included in the December documented kit as well. So now I'm just going through them to see what looks good behind the number 2. I cut out the number 2 to be almost as big as the 3x4 pocket because I wanted it to stand out. I only have one photo for day number 2, and so I had a lot of room to play. I always love getting the HipKit Club exclusive cards because some of the cards make journaling so easy. I especially love the ones with the lines already on them. I always write out my journaling on a scratch piece of paper first because I want to get the wording just right. I also want to gauge my spacing so I don't run out of room on my journaling card. Does anybody else do this? So I've got my journaling card in, and now I'm trying to decide what paper I want to go behind the number 2. I try out different pattern papers and cards to see what I like behind the number 2. I eventually settle on this blue and white pattern paper, which is a HipKit Club exclusive, and I probably like it because of the blue color next to the blue of the sky. Okay, so I decided to set that aside for some reason, and I'm working on my day 3. The story of day 3 is putting up the lights on our new house. Well, actually, my husband putting the lights up on the new house. We only moved in a couple of months ago, and our new roof line is way higher and steeper than our old house. So my husband was a little worried about it, but he got it done, and I think it looks beautiful. So I was trying to figure out how I was going to lay everything out because for day 4, I'm going to use that 5x7 vertical photo of Santa, and I had originally printed the house photo in horizontal orientation. So I went back to Photoshop, added some journaling, and then I reprinted it to be a vertical 5x7. I die cut some of these tabs from pattern paper that was included in the kit, and I used some old metal dies that I had in my stash. And there was a little cameo of my 2-year-old and her baby shark. So my other 2 photos, I'm going to make a 3x8 pocket page, and I'm just going to create one of those by cutting down one of the 4x4 orientation pocket pages in half. So if you're wondering what this photo that I'm trimming down here is, it's a picture of one of my genius purchases of the season. We put our house lights on a remote controlled outlet, and now we don't even have to go outside to unplug the lights. Genius, I tell you. So I was trying to figure out how I wanted to include the number 3 for this day, and I was trying out the glittered chipboard circles from Pebbles when I remembered that the pack came with, I guess, like a 12 by 12 advent calendar of numbers, and so I thought, why not just punch that out and use that? I really love the pop of red. The punch that I had ended up being bigger than I wanted, so I ended up using some metal dies to die cut the number 3. Back to the remote. I think I need to go back and get another one for indoor so I can plug my Christmas tree into it. That way I can turn on the Christmas lights with the remote without bending down to plug and unplug the lights. By the way, those little puffy stickers by Crate Paper are probably my most favorite thing from the December Documented kit. They're the perfect size for mini albums and December Documented albums. So we usually go see Santa right after Thanksgiving to avoid the late December crowds. And this year we went the Saturday after Thanksgiving and there was only one person ahead of us, so that's why we like to go early. Anyway, so the reason I'm documenting the Santa photo on December 4th is because I had my girls write their letters to Santa. And this year I wanted the Santa letters to be a little bit more individualized to them. So for my older daughter, I asked her to write a Santa letter on her phone in the Notes app, which she liked because she's on her phone all the time anyway. And then I just had her screenshot it and then text it to me. And then my middle daughter, she wrote a classic Santa letters. She drew him pictures and colored them. And I love the way hers turned out. For my 2-year-old, I just had her scribble on a piece of cards, pre-made card. I want my album to be a little bit more interactive this year, so I'm making a pocket page to put all my Santa letters in. And for the front of the pocket, I'm going to be using a photo that I created in Photoshop of all 3 of my girls writing their letters to Santa. And I'm making this pocket page to be the same size as the page protectors. I'm going to be using my 1-inch circle punch to create the thumb hole. I'm going to be machine stitching my pocket page together instead of using adhesive. But before I do, I want to punch the holes first because I don't want to machine stitch around and then have to punch through the machine stitching, if that makes sense. So I'm just looking to see how I can embellish these pages a little bit more. My style is more clean and simple, so I don't want to over embellish, but I do like to add just that little bit. I'm going to be using that Crate Paper sticker. I believe it says Holiday Wishes. And then I'm going to be using a Santa Puffy sticker. I decided to use the number 4 from that 12 by 12 advent sheet. I really like the pop of red, so I think that you're going to see a lot of those numbers in my album. For anything that's not going to be going into one of the plastic pockets, I want to be mindful and use extra adhesive so that it'll last with my girls flipping through the albums year after year. I really love how day 4 turned out. Okay, back to day 2. Now that I have the 3 by 8 pockets from day 3, I had to go back and find something to fill them in for day 2. So I just found a quote on Pinterest that had to do with walking and hiking, and I just hand wrote it using a brush tip pen. And it says, "Of all the paths you take in life, make sure a few of them are dirt." And I really love the quote, and I think it's so fitting for our hiking day. I did some machine stitching around the edge of that 3 by 4 pattern paper, and I adhered the number 2 to it. I always like to include a little see-through element with my pocket pages, and so on this spread I'm using hearts. So on the other side for day 1, I die cut one of the photos into a heart, and on this side I die cut a piece of red cardstock into a heart. And I'm going to be using that banner, I believe it says Holiday Cheer, and it's from the Pinkfresh Studio chipboard sticker set. So as I mentioned in a previous video, I don't like my embellishments to be too thick, so I peeled some of the layers off of that chipboard, and I'm going to be gluing it to the heart. And then I'll end up using my Tim Holtz Tiny Attacher to staple it to the pocket. That way the heart doesn't move around in the pocket and it stays exactly where I want it to stay. Now I'll do just a quick flip through of what I have so far. I'll have some photos posted at the end of the video as well. And that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Bye!